Welcome and what is up there, everybody? This is Casper Trader back here with another video today. And in today's video, we'll be doing a portfolio review for the last week. This is currently week 6 of our challenge, trying to grow our portfolio from $0 to $100,000 on Robinhood. And I think right now is a perfect time to start investing, as the whole stock market has had like a little crash. I would call it a mini recession, whatever you want to call it, but the whole stock market fell by like 32% at one point in time, and right now it's slowly recovering. Who knows if there's going to be another big drop, but I think it's just a phenomenal time to start averaging in on stocks. And in today's video, we'll be going over the stocks that I actually did buy in the last week, as I deposited twice as much as I usually do, as I try to on a weekly basis. For those who don't know, I try to deposit $100 every single week into my Robinhood account to start buying some stocks. But this week I've deposited $200 because I saw some really great deals in the market, and I kind of went on a shopping spree. So without further ado, before we get into the video, I'd really appreciate you guys could smash that like button below and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you guys have not yet. I'd really appreciate it a ton. Alright guys, so getting into the video, we did buy 10 stocks over the last week, which is pretty ironic because it makes a perfect video structure. So we're going to be going over each one of these stocks. I'm not going to go into huge explanations of each and every stock because I don't want to make this video like 30 minutes long, but I'll just go over a little bit of how many shares I'm holding, and if I'm up on the stock or down, and if I'm looking to buy more of these shares of the stock. So moving on to stock number 1, we have Facebook, and if you guys have watched my videos previously, you already know that I love this stock, and I'm going to just keep buying Facebook as much as I possibly can, because I think Facebook is just right now at a pretty nice price. It did recover a little bit from the whole recession going on, but it's definitely not back up where it used to be. It's definitely not even close to where it used to be, at around like $220, $210 per share. So it still has a long way to go, and I definitely think that Facebook is going to recover with no problem at all, as Facebook isn't really directly affected by the whole global situation right now. I think that this stock is a pretty good stock to buy, and I definitely see a lot of growth potential ahead of it. And I'm actually looking to buy some more shares of the stock, and I just see a good future in it. So moving on to stock number 2, which is Coca-Cola stock. And for those who don't know, this is like one of the most, I would say, talked about stock that Warren Buffett holds. Warren Buffett holds a large portion of Coca-Cola, and I decided to just hop on it. This was never a stock that I really wanted to invest in, because back when I started the whole stock market game, I was more of a short-term trader, and I was looking for short-term gains. And Coca-Cola is like I would say one of the most known like long-term dividend stocks, stable stocks that people look to when they start investing. And I think Coca-Cola is a great stock, and we actually bought a fractional share, a decent fractional share. If we take a look at our portfolio, we bought 0.42 shares of Coca-Cola, which is a pretty good amount of shares. And yeah, I think I'm going to keep investing more into the stock, as it is not completely recovered from the whole situation going on, and I think it's just a great stock to buy. So now moving on to stock number 3, and we have here JPMorgan Chase, and this is one of my favorite stocks that I actually did buy this week. We bought, I think, $40 worth of the stock. If we take a look right here, we have 0.44 shares of JPMorgan Chase, and this stock, I actually personally like using their company's products or services, whatever you want to call them. But I think this stock has a large potential ahead of him, and this whole drop that they had is not really going to be a long-term effect on the company. And I think that right now it's at just a really good price to buy it at. If you're buying the stock at $95 per share, and it's usually around the $130, $135 per share area, you're getting in at a really good deal. To be precise, you're getting like at a 30% discount onto the stock. And you're also, when you're buying in, you're getting a pretty nice dividend of 3.7%. So overall, JPMorgan Chase is just one of those stocks that I really like, and I'm looking to buy more shares of. And yeah, that's JPMorgan. Now moving on to stock number 4, which is Visa stock. And Visa stock is also one of my favorite stocks. This is one of the first stocks that I ever bought when I started in the stock market. And I can't complain about Visa. This stock has just had a phenomenal growth record over the last 5 years, or just ever since this whole company went IPO'd. If we take a look at the max, we can see that the whole company has grown by around 950% since the year of 2008. And over the last 5 years, this stock has grown by about 150%. So I think that's a really good growth um, growth percentage. And whenever the stock drops down, as you can see, it dropped down a bit here, a little bit here. This is like one of the biggest drops that Visa has had, like the majority of other companies that have started in the last like 10-15 years. But I think the stock is definitely going to recover from this, as once this whole global situation is over, they're obviously going to get back to where they were price wise of their stock. So I think that Visa is also at a really good buy price right now, and I'm looking to buy some more shares on this stock just because of its huge growth potential. So yeah, that's Visa stock for you guys. Now moving on to stock number 5, and this is one of my favorite risky stocks that I like to invest in. And we did buy over a whole share of Carnival Cruise. I think I bought like 1.4 shares in the last week, which is not too much considering the price of the stock, but we're currently holding around 4 shares of Carnival Cruise, and I'm just slowly averaging into the stock. I think we're overall up on this company, and the reason I bought this stock is just because it's a cruise company. It got totally dominated by the whole global situation going on, and I think that it's going to take a while for the stock to recover. That's why I'm not going heavy right now. But I'm just slowly going to buy some shares of the stock, maybe build up $120, $200 worth of this stock in my portfolio, and then just watch the growth from there. It's one of those stocks that could go bankrupt. They might not. They might. But if they don't, then once they get back to where they were, that's like a huge return. Since the stock fell like 70%, well, 80%. Almost 80% since like the last few months. So yeah, I think Carnival Cruise, it's a pretty decent stock if you're looking for something more risky, and I guess they do pay out a pretty nice dividend, so that's a little bonus on top of that. Now moving on to stock number 6, and this is one of these stocks that I just randomly bought. I don't know why I bought it. I honestly don't, but it's been growing pretty nicely. If you take a look today, it's up a whopping 4.25%, which is pretty nice. And if we take a look at the chart, over the last year, it is down because of the whole global situation, but I think it's still not, hasn't recovered that much compared to some other like fast-growing stocks. So Accenture is at a pretty decent price to buy it at right now. Has a decent dividend, so that's not bad. And I'm not going to talk a lot about the stock because I honestly don't know why I invested in it. I just heard it from someone that I know, and I decided to put like $10 into it. So that's just one of the stocks that I bought a little bit more of this week. And yeah, so moving on to stock number 6. What stock number is this? I think it's number 7. So moving on to stock number 7, which is Bank of America. Bank of America, if you guys are familiar with Bank of America, they did have a pretty big drop since this whole global situation has happened. They went from sitting around $34 per share down to around $23 per share. And I did buy the stock. I think I'm around break even on the stock right now, maybe down like 1%. But I definitely see a lot of potential in this stock, just simply because whenever it has a big drop, it usually just tends to recover. Since this is like one of the biggest drops that it had in a while. Yeah, it's been a while since I had this big of a drop. I think it's still going to recover with no problem and with ease. This is another one of those stocks that Warren Buffett holds, and I mean, if he's holding it and he's not selling off shares, you can't really panic sell on it. It's just one of those companies that will probably rebound and go back to where they used to be. So yeah, Bank of America, I definitely see some potential in the stock, and I'm slowly buying in some more shares. Now moving on to one of my favorite stocks, and this one is definitely one of my favorite stocks in my portfolio that I hold, which is NextEra Energy. And NextEra Energy in the last 5 days is up a total of, if Google lets me highlight, is up a total of 1.5%. And this is another one of those companies that I really love to invest in just because of its phenomenal growth record. 5 years ago, it was at $100 per share, and now it's sitting at almost $50 per share, up around 130% in the last year, which I think is some phenomenal growth. And even with this whole global situation going on, if you take a closer look at what happened, the whole stock price dropped by about 35%, which is about average for like every other stock that was affected by this whole situation. But look at this recovery it has. Look, it just jumped up from being down 35% to going up 35%. Well, it's not the whole 35%, but it did go up in share price from $180 per share up to a whopping $246 per share within like, how long is this? This is from March 23rd. Within a week, just within a week and a half, this stock just rebounded like crazy. And overall, since we looked at a few stocks before this, you can tell that this stock has been recovering pretty fast from this whole global situation. So it's growing a little bit faster than the majority of stocks, but I definitely still see some potential in the stock, especially if you're getting in below the all-time high prices of this stock. So yeah, NextEra Energy, definitely one of my favorite stocks, and I'm probably looking to buy some more shares of it. Now moving on to AT&T, I also do love AT&T just because of its pretty nice dividend. It has a dividend of 6.66%. Oops, devil's number. But this dividend that it's usually sitting at like 6%, 5%, 7%, or it's usually at, AT&T's dividends are just, I would say they're phenomenal. They're phenomenal for the price they can buy each share for. You can slowly average into the stock if you don't have fractional shares. It's just one of those great overall companies that are pretty steady. They have some growth ahead of them, and they pay some nice dividends. So AT&T is definitely one of my favorite stocks. I did buy I think a full share of this stock in the last week, and I definitely don't regret it. I'm looking to buy a lot more shares, maybe build up a position of like 10 shares in my portfolio of AT&T just to get that nice dividend coming in every single quarter. So yeah. That's stock number 9. Now moving on to the last stock of this whole entire list, which is Delta Airlines. And Delta Airlines has been affected like no other stock, except for maybe Carnival Cruise, by this whole global situation. And if you take a look at the stock price, it was normally sitting at around $50, $55, $60 per share. But now it's just, hey, what's up? I'm at $20 per share, $22 per share, $24 per share. So this stock is definitely on a huge discount right now. And there's been debates whether a stock is going to go bankrupt or not, but a lot of airline companies are having, they have a lot of government support for them just to make sure that they don't go bankrupt, because the whole country kind of needs them in order to have the whole like flow of emigrants into the country and out of the country. So I don't think the government's going to let this stock go down, and there's going to be a lot of people also investing on the stock because of its just phenomenal price that it's at right now. And if it does rebound to back where it was, that's like doubling your money or even more. So I definitely like Delta Airlines as more of a riskier play, just like Carnival Cruise. But if it does go back up to where it was sitting at before, within maybe a year or two, I think I'm going to sell this stock, because this stock just overall hasn't had a great track record for growth. I mean, yeah, in the max, if you look at max, ever since this company IPO'd, I guess it did do well, but in the last 5 years, it's just been growing really, really slowly. And I like to look at stocks that are growing much, much faster than Delta. So I'm just buying this one as a short-term kind of risky stock. So yeah, that's my 10th stock on the list. So those are all the stocks that I bought over the last week that have made my portfolio go up 3.3%. And yeah, that's going to be all for today's video. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great, great day.